Hey, my name is Chad. Welcome to this video where we are going to talk about some variations that I'm finding out in lots of primers. So let's get into this. I hope this will be interesting and prove a little bit of data out that would be helpful to anybody as you go through your reloading journey. So last week I came down and I wanted to find out if the speeds between the two batches and two different lot numbers of my alpha brass were going to be close enough that I could just use one loading and keep all the brass together and not worry about keeping them separated all the way through the shooting and then processing, cleaning, sizing, all that stuff. Keep them in two separate batches, or could I put them all together into one big batch? So I got down and loaded them the exact same way. And first group looked like what I was expecting to see. And then the second group, I noticed the speeds were quite a bit faster. And then my group opened up a decent little bit. I went from like an average of around 2987, I believe, to like 3011. So not a standard deviation kind of, or even an extreme spread range. So it was like 3 times what the extreme spread is for my typical groups. So I thought that it was the brass batches, and throughout the week I asked a couple people and got a few ideas. You know, I looked at the brass. So everything from one lot to the other lot pretty much measures the same so far as the brass thickness and the flash hole size. So everything that would point to it being a difference in the brass itself was not adding up. Then somebody mentioned if I'm using the same powders and primers and all that stuff. And then it hit me that I forgot in the middle of loading those up, I ran out and I took a couple primers from a different lot number and loaded those up last, which would have been in the second batch. So I got pretty confident that was going to be the culprit. So I spent most of Sunday going through all of the different boxes of primers that I've collected over the last year and a half. And I realized I've got way more primers than I'm going to need for a considerable amount of time. So I even dug into what all the codes on them mean. So like the first letter is the month. Set the first number is the day of the month. The second letter is the year. And then the last number is, they're thinking either a machine number or nobody's 100% sure. But those last 3 numbers turn up quite often if you have several different lot numbers of primers. So what I did is went through and found all the ones where I have 2 to 3 boxes. So 2 to 3,000 worth of the same lot number. And I loaded up 5 from each batch number. So I've got 10 total with each of the 3 lot numbers and 5 from each of my 2 brass lot numbers. So ideally they're going to be close within each of those 10 shots. Each 5-round group should be fairly close speed-wise if this is the culprit. I came out last night and did a preemptive test. And I adjusted my scope down some, so I'm not worried about the down, but it threw them off way over here. So I have a considerable shift to one side just from changing the primer lot number. So that's an interesting observation. So those were with one lot number. Today we're going to test the other 2 lot numbers, get those 20 shots downrange, and see what differences, if any, there are. See if one of these lot numbers is going to be close to the load I already have. I pretty much have to figure this out today and then verify next weekend and then load up, because my match is in 2 weeks. So I pretty much have this evening and then next weekend to verify stuff, and then we are time's up and it's match time. The other cool thing to show off is this is the new Game Changer X. So this is their large kind of what I've been calling, it's like a double-sided Game Changer. So you've got like the original, and this is filled with some of those special beads that they're lighter weight, but it still fills the bag size. And then this is the Schmedium filled with their heavy sand, which is what I've been using the most. I get the most stability out of this. But you can see considerable size difference. And you see how these have a flat top. This one is like they took two and stuck them together. And then you've got the wings on the top and the bottom. So you're able to get over something that's thin and have your bag flow over the front and the back, and then still get a wider footprint at the top for your rifle to sit on. So I tested it a little bit yesterday, and this is pretty good. It also works really great as a super solid rear bag. So I've already taken out that much sand, probably a pound, pound and a half. They come about 13 pounds if you get them filled. And I think I've got about the right amount out, but I might tinker with that a little bit more. But anyways, I'm gonna get set up and we're gonna get these shots downrange and see what this all looks like. So stick around and let's get some results. Okay, so you can probably tell that it is a little darker. I'm gonna lose light, so I've already run down and put a flashlight up. I shot one group and it was lot 2 with my second of my 3 primer options. I was getting about a 3010 average. So I just want to shoot one group with you guys, and then I'll time out for the next 2 groups. And I keep forgetting that we're in that time of year where the sun keeps going down earlier every single day. So we'll finish this up back at home, but let's see what this group and these speeds are going to look like. So this is brass number 1, and it's going to be option number 2 of my primers. So that one gave me an average of 29.97, and I went from low 29.92 to a high of 3003. So I had 11.3 ES and a 3.8 standard deviation. So kind of what I'm seeing is with the same primers between the 2 batches of brass, I've got about 10 to 12 feet per second speed difference. So is that enough difference to make a difference? And I need to continue keeping these separated? Or my other idea, do I just keep them separated and drop the powder charge like 1/10 of a grain for lot number 2, have approximately the same speeds, or within, you know, maybe 5 feet per second between the 2 lot numbers, and then be able to run the same Kestrel data and still be able to load up 200 at a time. So that's kind of where I'm at. I don't know how much of a difference 10 to 12 feet per second on average is in the grand scheme of things. Am I worrying about things that do not need to be worried about? And we're back home. So you can probably tell that this is a little bit different. I had to send my Pocket 3 camera back to DJI because it was having focus problems on the new unit that they sent me after the screen went wonky. So hopefully I'll get that back this week, but we're back on the previous camera. So hopefully everything kind of turns out decent for this one. I'm really hoping audio works better this time than the last time I had to use this. So anyways, we're back out here. I finished off my little amount of group testing real quick. Take a look at something new that come in. So I took advantage of the Labor Day inline fabrication sale and got their new like bench top die holder rack. So this will let me just kind of store things and move it around as needed, but you can add stuff on the sides and back of it. Pretty cool little deal. The main thing that I got from that sale is this right here. So this is their wall rail system. So I've already got 2 of the rails, 32-inch on this wall here, and then you can't see it, but on the other wall there I've got one of their 48s. So I got 2 panels. I realized I've got a bunch of things that have like hanging holes on them. So I've got a pretty considerable mess on top of all 3 of my workbenches here. So I'm going to try and organize that, get these panels up, get things spread out and up off of my workbenches, and just a little better organized going into this winter. So that's my big winter project, but stay tuned and we'll get these panels thrown up. So what I'm seeing is a pretty consistent 7 to 13, 14 feet per second change between lot number 1 and lot number 2. So with of the 3 primers I tested, primer 1 on lot 1 I had an average of $29.99. Lot 2 I had 3,007. So both of those had like 8 ESs and 2.6 or 3.6 for a SD. With the second primer, lot 1 had an average of $29.97 and lot 2 3,010. And that was 11.3 or 11.2, so really close ESs, and then my SDs was like 3.8 on both of them. So, you know, still getting good numbers. And then what I think I'm gonna do is use this one. So primer 3 that I tested in brass, lot 1 had an average speed of 29.98. I had one that was like considerably faster, kind of threw the group off, but really just threw my ESs and SDs off. And then with lot 2, I went from 29.98 to 3,005. So, I mean, a much closer spread, but my ES and SD was actually worse. So kind of weird. Had 14 and 19, and then my SD was 5.1 and 6.8. So each of those 5-shot groups had one that was further outside of the like standard range. So I don't know if I'm just going to ignore that. Now we're getting into the questions that I don't know the answer to, and that's what I need you guys to recommend. What would you do in this situation? So is a difference between 2 lot numbers of brass loaded the exact same way with the for sure exact same primers, you know, 7 to 13 feet per second, is that anything I need to worry about? That's typically within the extreme spread of a group. So am I worrying about nothing? Do I need to continue to keep these lots separated? So like for this testing, I would like mark on each one of them. So this was from lot 1, and I used primer from the month L. And then like this one was from lot 2, and used one from the month M. So I really don't know. I think these month M primers had the best results, and I've got 3 cases of these. So I've got 3,000 of these primers, and that'll last me the rest of the barrel I have now and my next barrel. And I will still be able to use the same primer the whole way through. So more than likely that's what I'm gonna do. So far as the groups, with the first one, for some reason, everything shifted considerably to the left. And I don't know what is causing that. But, you know, first group here. So that was lot 1 and lot 2. And then the next primer, lot 1 and lot 2. I mean, none of these are terrible, but, you know, that's not the best. Now this is what I'm kind of excited about. So this is the primer M. So the one that I think did the best had the smallest variation between the 2 lot numbers of brass, but it had the worst ES numbers. But like one group right there, and then another group right there, I mean, I cannot complain about that at all. Like that's just plenty good right there. So that's 1/4 to 3/10 of an inch. That's probably 4/10 to a 1/2 inch. So I don't know. On paper, I'm getting the answer, use this one. What I really don't know is, do I keep separating these and treat them as like 2 different, completely different brasses, or go ahead and mix them up and just run it as one big bulk pile? I'll have a little more variation between shots. So I don't know. I really like having things precise. I don't think my OCD is going to allow me to combine it all and not think about this. I'm pretty sure I'm going to be thinking about these numbers all the time. So more than likely, I'm going to go stick with one batch and just work with that for most of the season. If I need to load up the other batch, I might drop my powder by 1/10 and have very close speeds. You know, I'll test them, make sure that they're hitting in the same spot. What is very weird to me, that's kind of more weird than anything else, is changing primers to some that are a little more consistent on the speeds. It shifted everything to the left. So I don't know why that would happen, but I adjusted my scope so that I would hit below my aiming point, but usually I was hitting right in the middle of the target. Like on these previous groups, I'm just hitting below, but I'm still lined up with the up and down center. So I just shifted my scope so that I would hit below it. So very strange that I all of a sudden moved half the target circle, or moved over here to the edge of the aiming circle. I think I figure one thing out and then I get a new mystery. There's always something with this. So hey, that's why I'm bringing it all to you guys. If you got any ideas, please let me know. I'm really trying to figure out where I need to go next. I pretty much only have this coming weekend to verify stuff and then get settled on a load that I can load up and take to the match next weekend. So I'm out of time. I've got to pick one or the other. Right now, my thought is I'm going to go with Primer Stash M05E401 and use lot number 1 out of my brass. And I'm just going to load up enough for this match and get through it. I'll verify everything out at distance and make sure I'm still getting good hits. You know, practice some of my positional stuff a little bit more this next weekend, and then get ready to go for the match. If you want to see how my testing continues on in the future and how my upcoming match goes, please make sure and look right down below, subscribe right there. I really, really do appreciate everybody that gets subscribes and follows along with all that I'm doing here, and everybody that inputs. Drop your comments below. Let me know what you think, what I need to be doing next. If I'm way overthinking all this and I need to just stop and just run it and be happy with what I got, let me know that also, because sometimes I definitely get into a pickle of overanalyzing things and going way too far down into rabbit holes that I really don't need to be down into. So let me know that as well. Well, I think that's going to do it for this video. Trying to figure out another issue that I found out. So there is definitely differences between lot numbers of primers. So, you know, keep an eye on that as you're going into your reloading journey. And if you're new like me, when you run out of one, make sure you're grabbing the next sleeve is from the same lot number, or you might have to redo your loads. Thank you very much for hanging out with me for a little bit. I really do appreciate it. I hope you have a great rest of your day and a wonderful weekend, and we'll see you on the next one. Bye.